Good day, everyone. I am Filippo Gavazzeni, head of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Secretariat. So good day from the city of Milan. It's my pleasure to open this third webinar of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact and IURC Asia Pacific Food Policy Training. And today's issue will be sustainable diets and nutrition. That is the second category of the Milan Pact. So before to start, I would like to give you a couple of information. First of all, this webinar will be recorded. And secondly, we will provide the simultaneous interpretation in Vietnamese. So please, even though if you are, say, English speaker, please go on translation and select your language. And so the program of today will be as follows. There will be an introduction from the Milan Pact Secretariat done by Cécile Michel that will explain you what is sustainable diets and nutrition according to the framework for action on the Milan Pact. Then we will have some best practices from Europe, also from the Milan Pact Secretariat, from Serena Duraccio. And then we will have an in-depth presentation of what Milan is doing to guaranteeing healthy diet here with the local food policy. After that, we will have an important experience from our colleagues from Daegu. That will explain, Mr. Joseph Beck will explain the fruit snack program in primary school. Then there will be the Q&A session and closing part dedicated to explaining you how to submit practices to the Milan Pact Award, which is an important opportunity for I think for all who is attending today. So before giving the floor to Cécile Michel, I would like to remind you to mute yourself. Thank you so much. And Cécile, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Filippo, for this introduction, and good morning or good afternoon, everybody. I'm really glad to be here today. I'm going to share my screen. As Filippo said, I'm going to explain to you what is the category of the sustainable diet and what are the tools of the Milan Pact in helping cities in achieving more sustainable diets and nutrition. So I believe that after 3 webinars, most of you are familiar with the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, but for those of you who haven't joined it before, the Milan Pact is an international agreement among cities, and mayors, cities who signed the pact commit themselves to develop a more sustainable food system. And for sustainable, we do have kind of a holistic approach. So sustainable is also inclusive, resilient, safe, diverse, affordable, etc. So the aim of the pact is to support cities in fostering city-to-city communication and best practices exchange, and to develop more sustainable urban food system. Today, we are a network of over 230 cities, divided into 6 geographical areas. We have a steering committee composed by 13 cities who ensure the governance and the governance of the pact. And we have organized 7 global fora and 16 regional fora so far. The training, so this is the third time we met. They are organized by MUFPP and IURC. The aim is to train Asia Pacific city officers on food policies. And our journey, let's say, would somehow follow the 6 categories of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. So we met on 5th of April for governance, and today we meet for sustainable diet and nutrition. And here you can see a tentative calendar of our next meetings. So the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, it is not only a declaration, but it provides really concrete tools to help cities in achieving more sustainable food systems. So here we have identified 3 main tools. Well, the first and maybe the most important is it's a framework for action, because the pact it is composed by a preamble, but at the core it's the framework for action, which is composed by 37 recommended actions that are clustered into 6 categories. And this framework provides strategic options and inspiration to those cities aiming at developing their own food policies. Then we have the indicators. So it is of course, good to have recommended actions and to implement them, but then cities were were somehow expressing the needs of having a tools to monitor the impact of their food policies and to monitoring the progresses in implementing the different framework for actions. So we decided to develop a 44 indicators monitoring framework with a methodological guide. We will get back to this later. And then the best practices of the Milan Pact Awards. We have collected so far, thanks to 5 editions of the Milan Pact Awards, 370 best practices that are really a knowledge, a library of knowledge and of inspiration. You can go on our website, surf it, and discover the different best practices in the different categories. So deep diving into the core of our meeting today, there are 7 recommended actions falling into the sustainable diets and nutrition category, and those are all the actions aimed at ensuring, supporting, and encouraging a better nutrition and sustainable diets. Cities have the power and the responsibility to, for example, to promote sustainable diets through relevant education, health promotions, and communication programs. But cities can also address non-communicable diseases associated with the poor diets and obesity. There are many different programs done by cities in this. Cities can develop sustainable dietary guidelines to inform consumers, but also to inform all other food stakeholders. Cities can also adapt standards and regulations to make sustainable diets and safe drinking water accessible in public sector facilities. A city can also wish to explore regulatory and voluntary instruments to promote sustainable diets, of course, in accordance with the WHO recommendation. But you can also encourage the joint actions by health and food sectors, as well as invest and commit in achieving universal access to safe drinking water. So this is a quite wide array of actions that cities can decide to do to have a more sustainable diet and nutrition. We mentioned tool number 2, so the indicators. We have this set of 44 indicators, of which 12 are on sustainable diet and nutrition, so quite a high number. I said starting from 2016, FAO, the MUFPP Secretariat, with the support of RUAF, have developed this innovative and comprehensive set of indicators with a methodological guide to monitor the MUFPP recommended actions. So I'm not going through all of them, but you can see them here and on our website, because if you surf on our website, you can find every action is coupled with its own indicators. So it's pretty easy and nice to consult. And the methodological guide, this is very important because it's not always easy to use an indicator. I mean, sometimes cities don't know how to use it, how to, get the best out of it. So the methodological guidelines contains information on the rationales for selecting this indicator, but also how the indicator is constructed, a glossary, of course, to clarify technical terms, but also explanation on the types of data that are required, how the data can be collected, the expertise and also the resource needed by a city to use the specific indicators, and also, of course, some examples. It is worth noting that here you can also, the guidelines highlight the connections with SDGs and targets. Tool number 3, the Milan Pact Award. So this is maybe the most important and, well, not the most important, but among the 3 most important and relevant means that we have to stimulate and the exchange of practices and learning between signatory cities. So here you have an overview of previous editions of the Milan Pact Awards. And we have here selected the special mentions and the winning cities for every year. It is worth noting that in 2020, the Milan Pact Awards has been changed into the Milan Pact Talks, which is a non-competitive way to make cities share their best practices during the COVID-19 pandemic. Here we have selected some special mentions and the winning practices on sustainable diet and nutrition per every year. So on 2016, it was the city of Birmingham who won a special mention with a practice related to sustainable diets. So it is about a municipal commitment to expand school and community gardens, as well as targeting unhealthy foods and fast food advertising in low-income neighborhoods. And this was to tackle the problem of obesity and diet-related diseases, especially among young people. 2017, it was the city of Copenhagen who won a special mention. This was really about food procurement. The city of Copenhagen decided to make a 90% conversion to organic food in its schools' canteens. So all 900 municipal kitchens succeeded in this conversion. And this was done with a huge program of inclusion of 1,000 of stakeholders, farmers, food service professionals, school children, etc. 2028, it was the city of Parma who had more or less the same problem of Birmingham. So the idea was to tackle diet-related health problem in children. So they created a broad coalition of organizations involved in food education. So connecting local food culture, food education, physical activities, and environmental education. So again, here was a sustainable diet and nutrition practice, but with very much interest in having a governance approach for the involvement of stakeholders. And in 2019, so in the last MPA edition, if we do not consider the 2021 Milan Pact Talks, the city of Washington, D.C. Was the highest score winner with a sustainable diets and nutrition good practice. The practice is food as a medicine. So the city decided to fund Produce Plus and Produce RX programs. Those programs aimed at providing vouchers and coupons like twice a week or once a week, it depends, to people at risk, to food insecure people at risk of diet-related chronic illness. With those vouchers, beneficiaries have the possibility to buy fresh vegetables and fruit at the local farmers market, and this was done in collaboration with doctors from the district hospitals. All right, so I believe I did a panoramic of what is sustainable diet and nutrition in the Milan Pact Awards, and now I leave the floor to my colleague Serena Duraccio, who will deep dive into some practices on sustainable diets and nutrition in the European context. So Serena, the floor is yours, and I'm managing the slides.
Okay, thank you, Cecile. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm going to present you two best practices from Europe, from Birmingham and from Grenoble. These are all practices that have been submitted in the past edition of the Milan Pact Awards, as Cecile was mentioning before. So first one is from Birmingham. So Birmingham is a very ethnically and social diverse city with many challenges and many needs. And of course, obesity was a prominent issue within the population. And studies demonstrated that 1 in 4 children is obese by the time they leave primary school. That's why Birmingham created the Birmingham Childhood Obesity Partnership that was launched to impact childhood obesity at all levels, including policy change, partnership, communication, as well as special intervention. In particular, the main intervention was focused on the creation of a sustainable food program supported by public health nutritionists, in particular schools and community centers have been supported to grow food, raise awareness, but also adopt an active lifestyle. And this was also supported by a charity that was engaged in making sure that healthy food was as visible, tasty, and as affordable as unhealthy food. Indeed, Birmingham became the first local authority in the UK to display nutritional information on all public advertisement. So these practice, we can see as indicator 13 in this case is a perfect example of what Birmingham is carrying out. Then we can move to the next slide, please. Okay, and then we have another example coming from Grenoble, that in 2019 submitted these practices called STD food system transformation. Basically, the city serves about 10,000 meals a day within their public catering services, including school canteens, nurseries, but also meals that are delivered for elderly at home. What is interesting is that they are serving, providing 2 vegetarian meals a week in all day public catering facilities. But what's more is that they, of course, try to include, to make sustainable all the aspects of the supply chain. So the first of all, 50% of the food comes from local organic farming with the aim to achieve 100% of the food. But also clean transport, so how the food is distributed, the complete removal of plastic packaging, but also the donation of all surplus food to a food bank in order to distribute to vulnerable people. And last but not least, in school canteens, they make sure that they ensure an affordable price for all those families that are in need. So they provide a meal for 2,500 children just for 80 cents. So a healthy meal for 80 cents. And in this case, we can see that Grenoble is a perfect example of indicator number 16. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Cecile and Serena. Let's continue our journey through Europe, and I would like to ask to Mr. Andrea Magarini, who is the director of the food policy of the city of Milan, to give a presentation on the Milan model on school canteens towards healthy food for people and for the planet. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Filippo, and congratulations to all of you, because 82 people here connected are a high number. So by following the presentation of Cecile, Filippo, and Serena, coming back to Milan, we are trying to interpretate the category number 2 on sustainable diets and nutrition through action on school canteens. But before this, we start with an overview of our main KPI on healthy diets here in Milan. So we collected through the food system assessment a series of data of average of adult and child obesity in Europe, Italy, our region, and also Milan. And so here is the first stage to start our journey on food healthy diets. We also go more in detail to discover the different data on obesity based on gender, based on the age of this child, and this was summing up in the Milan Diabetes Atlas. So what Cecile mentioned about non-communicable diseases, diabetes and obesity are the most important issues in which we can activate innovative action. And through this diabetes projection model, we start with a baseline on 2017, and we know that if we do nothing on this topic, the degree of diabetes will increase from 5.4% up to 5.8%, and with a lot of data of impact on people and also million euros on health system. Otherwise, if we activate a 25% of reduction of obesity by 2045, we can decrease this percentage. And we notice that we work with all of our partners that are experts on this topic here in Milan, and we know that working on school canteens, we can achieve a lot of goals. And so come back to school canteens that in Milan are a full managed municipal service through a municipal agency. Here you can see some data on this municipal service. So we prepare each day 85,000 meals in 26 cooking centers by serving healthy food in more than 600 of canteens. With an investment of, investment is one of next slides. But here in this map, you can see how this program is well spread all around the cities. So the different blue dots are all of our municipal canteens for schools, and the red cross are the cooking centers. So we prepare each year 70 million of meals. You can understand how by shaping these municipal services toward more healthy diets, we can increase and we can achieve a goal for our children and for our citizens. We work with the parents of these children because we establish a shared system of control for food safety, in which we organize parental control commissions in each canteen. So the parents becoming inspectors, and they can do inspection in canteens by filling a food safety survey that is immediately shared with a web app through our food policy department and throughout the school canteens municipal agency. So it's a perfect system in which all the different shareholders and stakeholders of the canteens are working together. But what we achieve on the topic of healthy diets, we start in 2016 by working with the World Health Organization of the United Nations, WHO, by avoiding added salts from the diets of kindergartens, and also by start removing a part of red meat. And this is very important because one of the effects of a non-communicable disease are perfectly linked with salts in childhood growth and also on red meat. We also try to promote, as promoted by the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact recommended actions, a program that promotes fruit consumption that is named Middle Morning with Fruit, in which we anticipate the fruit directly in classroom. And with this program, we think that in the future, our citizens will be more healthy food habits. We also try to introduce new short supply chains for public procurement and also other kind of program that will change the habits of child. How does it cost all of this program? About 77 million euros per year, on which more than the half is paid by municipal budget, and the last part by directly the parents. This program is well organized and also very efficient in topic of economic efficiency. We also monitor through an initiative named Cool Food Pledge our environmental impact on these healthy options. And we committed to reduce the 25% of food-related greenhouse gas emission by 2030. And we start by monitoring this system in 2015, in which we introduced new recipes like legume cake, like soy, Filippo, I see you, like soy ragu for pasta or soy ragu for lasagna. And this part, these new recipes introduced year by year will helping us to achieve more healthy diets, as well a decreasement of GHG, greenhouse gas emission, CO2 emission on the public procurement of our canteens. And now in 5 years, we decrease of 20% these emissions. So here a snapshot is my last slide, in which we share with a dashboard all of our main effort on school canteens that, in our opinion, are a good driver of change to start a food policy journey and to start to change the food habits of our citizens. Thank you, and I'm stay here. Filippo, up to you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Also, thank you for being perfectly in time. We are particularly interested in what you said about connecting healthy diets, both for people and the planet, with different action that you are undertaking in Milan. So now let's, and also you mentioned the program on anticipating fruit in the morning. This could be something maybe very interesting also for the city of Daegu. We can maybe create an exchange among the two cities, because you have, I think, two quite similar approaches, and now it's time to discover it. So I would like to ask Mr. Joseph Beck, that is a deputy director of management of the management team of the agricultural wholesale market of the city of Daegu, to present the fruit snack program for primary school. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, hello, everyone. I'm Joseph X, City Officer of the Metropolitan Government. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to share our experience. We have conducted a program that provides locally produced fruits to daycare classes students at primary school. And I will share our experiences on how this program has affected the community. As shown in the table, the obesity rate of Korean children and adolescents is steadily increasing. This obesity is caused by imbalanced diet and poor eating habits. And childhood obesity can cause disease such as diabetes and high blood pressure, and can be accompanied by psychological problems such as inferiority and depression, which increases socioeconomic costs. On the other hand, as the market opening has accelerated the consumption of imported fruits, has increased, like this table, while per capita consumption of domestic fruits has decreased, and fruit farmers are worried about the market. In consideration of these socioeconomic problems and industrial aspects, Daegu City has released a fruit snack as a card for children in daycare class to form healthy eating habits and increase consumption of local seasonal fruits. Now let me find out about the daycare class where fruit snacks are provided. The daycare class is a program that takes care of students until 1 to 5 p.m. who are not able to return home immediately after regular class in primary schools. And this class is organized by the Ministry of Education. Anyone in the first, second, and third grades of primary school can apply. And if the number of applicants exceeds the quota, students are selected according to priority. The first priority is children from low-income family. The next priority is children raised by grandparents. And the next is single-parent family and working couples family. Then we need to find a company to supply fruits to the daycare class. In the process, cooperation between national and local governments is necessary. The blue part on the left is the role of the national government. In January, the ministry openly recruits companies to participate in the project. In February, the review of the process company that applied is conducted. After selecting a company, through deliberation, the list of qualified companies is announced. The yellow part on the right is the role of Daegu local government. Daegu Metropolitan City has 8 district governments, which are called gu and gun in Korean. And the gun has a smaller population and is a little less urbanized. 7 gus and 1 gun in Daegu City hold their own committee to select processing companies suitable for their regions. From the qualified companies list announced the Ministry of Agriculture. So this year, 4 companies were selected. The selected companies must use eco-friendly or GAP certified fruit, provide at least 7 kinds of fruit during the business period. and do not provide the same fruit 3 times in a row. This is the whole process. All processes of fruit processing must be carried out at HACCP certified facilities. And in principle, the process from washing to refrigerated distribution and students' intake should take place within 36 hours. This is a detailed process. After housing inspection, the first washing is performed. And although not shown in the figure, the second wash, disinfect, and the rinse are performed. And the infrared dry process is performed, and then UV sterilization is carried out. These pictures show the process of automatic cutting and packaging of fruits. Packaging containers must be made of eco-friendly materials that are 100% naturally decomposed, such as biodegradable plastic. Packaged fruit snacks are loaded on the refrigerated distribution vehicles and delivered to the primary school. Fruit snack is served twice a week, and each cup contains about 180 grams. This project started in 2018. By 2021, 43,485 students from 903 schools participated. This is a cumulative number, and in 2021 alone, 11,100 students from 228 schools participated in the program. In the case of 2021 budget, a total of around 3 million euro was provided, and the national and local government expenses were paid 50 and 50 respectively. This study was conducted by the Ministry of Agriculture. This table shows the result of a study on schools that have participated in the fruit snack program since 2020. As shown in the table, compared to 2020, children's fruit intake increased in 2021. The green color is 2020, and the red color is 2021. You can also see the students who rarely eat fruits will eat even a little bit in 2021. As a result, most parents and teachers are positive about expanding the program further. Okay, as conclusion, through this program, we can expect these things. First, it provides farmers with a stable source of consumption by creating an opportunity to consume locally produced fruits. Second, it will also contribute to the sustainable growth of the fruit industry by securing future customers who enjoy eating locally and produced fruits. Third, it will contribute the growth of related industries, such as fostering processing companies that have a HACCP certification and creating jobs. And fourth, last, it will help the students grow into healthy adults by improving their eating habits. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, please contact me via email. Here it is, and I will answer you sincerely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph, for your insightful presentation. It was a pleasure to listen to your good practice. So it's and I do see a lot of points in common with the experience of Milan. So we are very happy as Milan Pact Secretariat to set up eventually a bilateral meeting to further cooperate on that. So let's move now to the first round of Q&A session. I saw a great interaction while you were speaking in the chat. So first of all, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Toshiyuki Ando, that is the Deputy Director of the International Strategy at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. We had the pleasure to welcome him 2 weeks ago here in Milan. He came to visit the Milan Pact Secretariat. So, and it's a pleasure to see you online. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Ando Toshiyuki of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. First of all, congrats for inviting me to this webinar today. And thank you for making time. As we embark on the road to recovery from the pandemic, Tokyo is advancing a sustainable recovery that goes beyond the environment to include realizing a sustainable way of life for the people. Today, I'd like to talk about the main initiatives related to sustainable eating habits in Tokyo from this sustainable recovery perspective. First of all, at last year's Tokyo 2020 Games, rice balls, salads, and other dishes made from Tokyo ingredients were served to the athletes. This widely communicated the freshness of the ingredients and the deliciousness of Japanese cuisine. These culinary attractions are a major strength of Tokyo as an international tourist destination. The travel magazine Condé Nast Traveler even ranked Tokyo first in its ranking of world cities. We aim to become a city of gastronomy that attracts the world. We will do this by widely communicating Tokyo's gourmet appeal, both domestically and internationally, enhancing the city's presence and strategically implementing measures to further polish Tokyo's culinary scene. With regard to food loss measures, TMG formulated the Tokyo Food Loss Reduction Promotion Plan in March 2021, setting targets of halving food loss by 2030 and achieving net zero food loss by 2050. The business sector is responsible for approximately 75% of food loss in Tokyo, with the food service and retail industries accounting for a large share of this. This makes it indispensable to reduce food loss in these industries in order to achieve these targets. Last year, TMZ publicly called for businesses to participate in the Long Life Project. This project includes initiatives to sell surplus foodstuffs from restaurants in vending machines using quick freezing technology. There's also a demonstration project aimed at reducing losses at the point of sale, such as frozen sales of prepared bread with short expiry dates, which will retain the flavor of the bread. In the future, the results achieved will be shared widely with relevant businesses. And while studying the use of food tech, we will work with industry associations and municipalities in Tokyo to further reduce food loss and advance awareness so that each and every consumer sees food loss prevention as their own personal matter and puts it into practice. We want to continue promoting collaboration and cooperation with other cities. Thank you very much. Grazie mille. Back to you, Mr. Filippo.
Thank you so much for giving us a picture of what Tokyo Metropolitan Government is doing on this issue. We strongly encourage you to submit this amazing practice to the Milan Pact Awards. So, and I will come back to this issue in some minutes. So now I would like to ask to the colleagues from Quezon City that wrote many interesting information in the chat, if they wanted to jump in for a couple of minutes, if they have questions or just if they wanted to say something about what they are doing, it will be great. Okay, so let's move ahead with the information here in the chat that brought our colleague Siriwat from the IURC on what Bangkok is doing. And let me also take the opportunity to thank all the IURC and Siriwat and all the IURC team for this great collaboration in organizing these webinars. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Filippo, for co-organizing this series of webinars. So my name is Siriwat. I am the country coordinator for Thailand. And within the IURC program, we are pairing 3 cities in Thailand with 3 cities in Europe, one of which is Bangkok. Now, it's a little bit unfortunate that Bangkok cannot participate in this webinar as a speaker, but based on my research, one practice that I can show you is called Thai School Lunch for BMA. So it's a, let me share my screen just a little bit. So it's an online platform that manages school meals and for schools under the supervision of the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. These schools provide both breakfast and lunch, and these platforms, it monitors the kind of nutrition data for each meal. So schools can use this platform to manage the meals, to prepare the meals, and it also helps with budgeting and planning of the procurement of the ingredients as well. And this platform, I believe in the future, it will link to other platforms for parents to help monitor their children's health as well. So this is one practice that is being implemented here in Bangkok. Back to you, Filippo.
Thank you so much, Yo. So I don't know if there are any other questions or the colleagues from Quezon City want to say something on what they wrote on the chat. Okay, so just to remind you that there are no silly questions. We are all food policy officers and we are here to, let's say, improve our practices. So there are just smart questions. Don't be shy. And if you have some doubts or some thoughts to share, you are more than welcome to do it. In the meantime, while you are thinking about your question, I would like to ask you if you can turn on your cameras for photo opportunity. We are quite a lot of officers. We reach 100 participants. That is a very important result. So let me, in the meantime, while you are switching on your cameras, thank everyone to take the time to join this training, and we are happy to see that this is useful for you. So just tell me when the pictures are taken, and in the meantime, please
Filippo,
think to
should I count? Or I will just, okay, so 1,
Yeah, please.
2, 3, smile. I will go to the next page. We have a lot of participants today. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll go to the next one. 1, 2, 3. And then the last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Hio. And
and Filippo, in the meantime,
yeah.
if we don't have questions, maybe you can talk briefly because we have a lot of cities who are not members of the pact yet. So maybe you can inform them if they would like to be part of the pact, who they can contact, and what would be the process of becoming a signatory city.
Yes, sure. I will start sharing my screen, and I will start by explaining you on how to sign the pact. That is a very good point, as there are a lot of new cities today. Let me share my screen 1 second. Okay, so as Cecile said at the beginning, the pact is a global commitment of mayor who wants to work on sustainable urban food system. To be very pragmatic, signing the pact is very easy. So you can contact the Milan Pact Secretariat. We will now write in the chat the email address for you to asking information. So basically, we will send you the subscription form that is it needs to be signed by the mayor, and it's very easy. So it's a letter of commitment that is signed by the mayor, and we can provide you the draft. Then we will ask for the primary contact, so the focal point of the Milan Pact in your city, who will be the person that will be in charge of the relation and the cooperation among the Milan Pact Secretariat and the other cities. And then it's done, in the sense that the first part, let's say the bureaucratic part, is done. There are no fees at any stage of the process. So being a member and also participating to our activities, from the trainings to the bilateral exchange that we might organize, to attending the global and regional forum, is free. There are no fees, participation fees. So the only thing that we ask to signatory city is being proactive within the community. And as you might have understood, since the last 2 years, the Milan Pact Secretariat is working very hard to support the participation of cities in Asia Pacific. So we will be very happy to welcome you in the Milan Pact. By signing the pact, you will then have access to a lot of opportunities, from joining regional and global forum to the Milan Pact Awards. I will tell you in a couple of minutes. Being part of trainings, receiving useful materials, and also proposal to joining call for tenders. So it's just a matter of the opportunity you want to catch by being a member of the pact. So you will see the Milan Pact Secretariat email address, to which you can write in the chat. So I would like to move ahead with the very last part, that is an opportunity, as I mentioned, of my presentation, that is the Milan Pact Awards. So I will go at the beginning of my presentation. Okay, so the Milan Pact Award is a powerful tool to spur innovation on food policy among city and city officers. The community, I mean, it's a community of cities, but it's also a community of people. And as the Secretariat, we want also to take care and train the people who are part of this network. So As you can see, mayors and cities are increasingly participating to the Milan Pact Awards. As you can see, the great soaring in 2019 and 2020 about the practice submitted. Year by year, we have collected quite 400 practices that are our common library of knowledge. So we base on that knowledge to create and develop our programs, to invite cities to speak in international conferences, to create a consortium to join call for tenders, and to organize training. So it is very important to participate to this award. It can, from your participation, can derive a lot of opportunities. So we have so 8 winning cities and 24 special mentions in 5 editions. So let me say that now the 2020 call is open and it's there for you. So if you succeed, let's say, to sign the pact within the deadline, that is the 15th of June, you will be also entitled to submit practices to the Milan Pact Awards. You can submit 1, 2, or 3 practices to the awards, and the programs that we have heard and also the intervention during the Q&A are perfect example of practice that are submittable. So I would like to give you a very brief explanation on how to fill the submission form, and you will then immediately understand how easy it is to participate. So you can download the guidelines for applying and the submission form, plus the template of the letter of the mayor on our website, and also in our chat. We will put the link right now. So the first part is about general information, so name of the city, population, title of the practice, and if you have photos and video of the practice, it will be great to submit them. Also, we ask to accompany your submissions with the letter of the mayors that will simply, let's say, saying from the city of Milan, we are submitting these practices. So it's a very easy template. Then to moving ahead, this is a very important part. We have to select the category of the Milan Pact. So the practice presented today will fall under the second category, sustainable diets and nutrition. So you have to choose the practice that is more suitable. Of course, your action might fall under different categories, but you have to select the main one. Then please choose the 3 most SDGs impacted, and on the right side you are asked to give a brief presentation of the practice, which will give the international committee of experts the context, the needs, and the reasons behind the implementation of the practice. Moving ahead, it's the part of the stakeholders. So just please list the stakeholder, divide per category, and the total number of stakeholders you have involved for implementing the practice, and very, very briefly describe the budget. I mean, how much this practice costs, and if it's a budget completely, for example, it's a municipal budget, or it's partially, for example, funded by a public-private partnership, for example. Okay, now we go to the really heart of the submission form, with the 3 criteria that will be evaluated by the jury. So we have innovation. Try to explain why your practice is innovative. It shouldn't be the most innovative in the universe. It should have some innovative partners, or some specific aspects that are innovative for in your consideration. It might be in your region, in your country. Then impact. We ask you to describe the social impact, the environmental impact, and the economic impact of your practice. What has been said today, it's perfect. And also we encourage you to use the monitoring framework of the Milan Pact Awards that Cecile introduced in his opening speech. Inclusion. So it's not a matter of social inclusion, it's a matter of inclusion of territorial, of the territory. For example, if you are working with other, let's say, institution like a regional level or national level, if you're working on specific neighborhood, then it's a matter of stakeholder involvement, and it's a matter of dimension that you are tackling by implementing this practice. So for example, if you are submitting a practice on healthy diets and your practice is also impacting other categories of the Milan Pact, such as food production, for example, for the connection with agriculture and peri-urban farmers, you can say this here. Finally, you will have another session on the learning needs and challenges that you are facing by implementing your practices. So be sincere, because this part is not evaluated by the jury, is for the Milan Pact Secretariat. It will be great for us to understand what are your learning needs in order to support you in go ahead and advance. This part will be the very important also for the fellowship program. So I didn't mention what is the award. So we will have 6 awarded city, 1 for each of the 6 categories of the Milan Pact. So the highest score for governance, the highest score of sustainable diets and nutrition, and so on. Then these 6 winning cities will have a fully covered mission to join the Milan Pact Winners Retreat in Milan in 2023, a 3 days of intense exchange among winning cities and the Milan Pact Secretariat and the Food Policy Division to advance and to launch the fellowship program. What is the fellowship program? So it's a program that will run in 2023. And so if you participate to the Milan Pact Awards, then you will be eligible to join the fellowship program in 2023. It will be a framework of intense exchange with the trainings like the one today, like with field visit, with bilateral exchanges, and many others tool of exchange, all facilitated by the Milan Pact Secretariat. So as you can see, it's just a matter of opportunity. If you can take the time, let's say, to submit practices and sign the pact, then you will have, let's say, a cascade of opportunities along 2022 and 2023. As we want to support the development of your food policy, there will be this final part in the submission form. It's very easy to fill it in, and the questions are quite similar to the survey that some of you might have already taken. So just to understand the driver of your food policy, if you have a food policy department, if you have an approved food policy strategy, if you manage school canteens, if you have farms. So it will be useful to make the correct, let's say, peering for us, for the Secretariat, to cities that have more similar leverage to have an impact on the food system. So I conclude this part by saying once again that if you are a signatory city, just submit your practices. You have time until the 15th of June, and then you will have 1 year of potential opportunities. If you don't have signed the pact yet, please take the time to do it and join and participate to the awards. I will also encourage all the new cities that are approaching today, and I also encourage the colleagues from Quezon City to sign the pact, because here we know that you are doing amazing work, really amazing work, and it will be great for us and for the entire community if you could share some practices to the Milan Pact Award. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will now leave the floor for question on this part of on the Milan Pact Award and on how to sign the pact. Thank you so much.
So is there any question for the application, about the application of the Milan Pact Awards? If not, Filippo, in that case, we can have maybe 1 minute for Andrea to answer a question from Bandung. Andrea, I'm not sure whether you're still with us.
Okay, so I can take it if Andrea maybe is not here. So I read the question from the colleagues of the city of Bandung, Mr. Bakengin, terima kasih untuk pertanyaan Anda. Also, let me mention that the city of Bandung, together with the city of Seoul, are in the steering committee representing Asia Pacific. So I will read your question. How does Milan City control canteen in the step-by-step regulation? So far in our city, the canteen operationalization is dependent on school regulation independently. The city government have no intervention to collect and steer all of canteens in the whole school. Okay, so here in Milan, we have a company, a completely controlled company controlled by the municipality that is called Milan Ristorazione, and Milan Ristorazione is, let's say, under the direct control of the food policy department, which respond directly to the vice mayor of Milan, that is has politically is in charge of the implementation of the food policy. So the city of Milan, let's say, control the entire chain of Milan Ristorazione. So it has to give, let's say, the approval for procurement, and it set the city of Milan, it set, let's say, the guidance for the procurement, healthy diets, and also control the implementation of the service, because it's a public service. So we have people from the municipality that are, let's say, inspector that goes day by day in the school canteens and in the kitchen to monitoring, control, and assess the quality. Let me close, and I hope to have replied to the question. Also that there is a public service, and a very small part of it, depending of the income of the family, it is, let's say, paid by the families, and the quite total amount is covered by the municipality, and this let's say resources are then let's say directed to this company, which is Milano Ristorazione. Are there any other questions about the awards, the prize, how to sign the pact? or is everything clear? So if is everything clear, we expect a lot of cities joining the pact in the next week.
So Filippo, shall we wrap up?
Yes. So I see another question from Bandung, and we will take note of that, and we will reply by email or with, as you are signatory cities, with a dedicated bilateral call to support this this curiosity, and this we will be happy to provide with the right information. So let me conclude by thanking all the speakers and the organizers of the Milan, both from the Milan Pact Secretariat and the IURC. Thank you everyone for being here. We were quite 100 people, so it's impressive. We are looking forward to seeing all of you in the next webinar early in July on social and economic equity, which is an issue that we faced in, let's say, firsthand during the pandemic, also, well, in Europe and here in Milan. So we are keen to understand what you are doing to provide the adequate access to of food to people in need. So thank you very much for your for being here. We will post the recording and all the materials in our website. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, thank you.